state law is state law, and it's my job to enforce state law. I will do so.
Need a lawsuit against the sheriff's department or an arrest of the sheriff?
I think I just answered that.
California Attorney General Xavier Becerra threatening officials in Orange County who have announced that they will defy the new state sanctuary law in order to help federal agents capture criminal aliens. Two of those Orange County officials joining me now, Michelle Steele, Orange County Supervisor, and Don Barnes, Orange County Under Sheriff. Good to see you both. Supervisor Steele, do you feel threatened by the Attorney General?
No, not at all. It's just threat. It's going to be really interesting because he's going to arrest our Sheriff Hutchins, and then Jeff Sessions arrest Becerra. And how many people have, I mean, out of those three, that who has the most police power? So it's going to be really interesting. I think it's just a threat.
You know, I have to continue with you for a second, Supervisor. You really think it's going to come down to an arrest? That is, that the Attorney General of California will arrest somebody in the Sheriff's Department?
I don't think so.
No.
How it's going to happen like that, and I don't think that that's going to really happen, because Sheriff is doing whatever she can to protect our public safety in our Orange County. So I don't think that's going to really happen.
Well, Sheriff Barnes, have you had to choose between, in the past couple of weeks from the time the sanctuary law was imposed on the state, have you had to choose between following the sanctuary law of the state and following the federal law that requires you to help out federal agents?
Well, no, and because unfortunately, SB 54 passed into law, and we have to follow the law, and the law is legal unless it's proven to be unconstitutional, which is why we had asked for and actually welcomed the lawsuit brought on by Jeff Sessions. That will clarify the legality of it, and we think that he will prevail. This will be overturned, and we'll be back in the same position we were before.
But do you know, I mean, obviously your primary concern is keeping your community safe. I mean, that's why you became a sheriff. Have there been instances where dangerous people have been put out on the street because of the sanctuary law?
Yes, there have. We've had several instances where that has happened. Under a previously passed legislation called the Trust Act, the sheriff still has the discretion to turn individuals over for very high-level crimes to ICE, and we've been continuing to do that. But more than half of the individuals in our custody aren't meeting that threshold, and they're very, very dangerous people with very sophisticated criminal histories are being released back in the community, and most often back in the communities in which they'd preyed upon before. It's making the community less safe.
Supervisor Steele, very recently we had this vile criminal. He was an illegal alien. He was a cop killer in Sacramento. During his sentencing, he threatened to kill more police if he was let out. He said he was going to get out. I mean, this is I'm just wondering if the people, for example, in Oakland who've gone as far as you can go in a sanctuary city, there's the criminal, the bald guy in the middle. Would that kind of a person be let out by the sanctuary law of the state?
Of course not, because I think government's duty first comes is public safety, and Under Sheriff Don Barnes is going to let us know, but since January 1st of this year till March 19th, we had about 172 illegal criminals were released on the street. And as a supervisor of Orange County, public safety comes first, and I want to make sure that our residents, that they can walk on the streets safely, and that's what sheriff does, and then that's what under sheriff that they decide to put.
But Supervisor, I'm sorry for interrupting, but you just heard from Sheriff Barnes that in fact there have been dangerous people put out in the street by the state law.
Exactly. That's why we have to pass this resolution, and we ask our county council to follow the lawsuit.
Sheriff, what has happened to California? I mean, the rest of the country is shaking their head wondering how they could pass something like this. And I know you guys are standing up to it, but you're in the minority, at least in terms of the number of counties that are going along with the state law.
Well, that's true. There's been attempts throughout the last several years, and it's really an attack on California's three strikes laws that were passed back in the 90s. And beginning in 2011 with AB 109, which was state prisoner realignment, taking prisoners and putting them back in county jails. And then Prop 47 passed in 2014, which changed felonies for drug possessions and thefts to misdemeanors. We can't book those people into jail anymore. Now they're amongst in our community. Another law passed last year. It's all these decriminalization efforts that's happening within the state. It's making our communities less safe. But the one thing about this bill that makes it very challenging for us is this bill, we still have the ability, and it's focused on criminals, not on the community. We do not do immigration enforcement within the community. We want to keep these criminals where they are and hold them accountable and not release them back in the community where everybody's at risk.
Supervisor, I'm afraid we got to go, but I just have to, what I was asking about is whether there's a backlash against what we have seen, this trend that we've seen in California for the past couple of years. Quickly, if you could.
You know what? Yes, they do. But you know what? Most of people support what we are doing in Orange County, and we are very proud. And we have 3.2 million people living in our county. So we are leading, and hopefully that other counties are joining us, and then we're going to really go against this bad law.
Michelle Steele, Don Barnes, best of luck to both of you. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it.